What do any of you know about the speed of art force? I got my Sentry set up. Take out anything moving on our level. I've re-engineered this artifact of heaven into a type of net. A net that has a very interesting and unique effect. You see, there's a trick to it. And the trick allows me to make something that would be for projecting, in a sense, changing its nature to then reflecting. And at what age really am I? But if by all consideration toys themselves are considered, I've got one that looks like it's always fly. So yeah, this is some kind of force. And the fact that the network itself always checks in on what it thinks has some historical end. You see, there is governance, and it's key where God holds the padlock in his hand, is opened to see all that heaven can. Imagine looking out from heaven, not rather in. What kind of differences does that make you distinguish? Does it give you any different ideas of heaven then? Maybe heaven's not necessarily about just getting there. Does that mean that it's already created then? What then is heaven's purpose? Then perhaps heaven then actually can send. Well, let me tell you more about how much I can play with networks and identities. You see, there's something very special, very unique about me. All this time in which all these things think that things either matter or they don't, considering such great time then with everything, there's really only one thing actually mattering. And the trick is knowing what that one thing is. And then by penetrating that, this key unlocks anything within the air that you can see, the air that you can simply breathe. There's always something there in store. This net then is whatever I can perceive, I can call and place, just like this entire thing is a forge. It's my place, truly mine, where truly only rests in reality once it's escaped the mind. Maybe that's like heaven then. What then truly is heaven sent but ideas that transition this world so that all of a sudden they can rest? Then maybe Earth is just some giant graveyard of everything that's fallen from far. And truly, heaven looks maniacally at all the headstones it can see. They cover the earth in elaborate patterns and girth. So many kinds of designs and many colors, it can blind a mortal's eyes. Then you see, hell is actually heaven's waiting room for these things. And that's actually like living. But you know what? If you act out of place, then the waiting room just takes longer and longer and longer. It's so uncomfortable, especially the people that work there. They don't get you at all. They get nothing. They only work for numbers. They don't recognize a thing. And so, how does an angel then go to and fro? What then is the purpose of rest if it's just to lie? But perhaps every casket is just a sort of display in a museum. Maybe that's what God would say. But then if that's truly the case, then all of a sudden we've broken way open portals for everything. But then there's the trick. The trick is in seeing, in making history. You've connected to the only mind that sees. Have I made history? Well, have I made history for me? How many times have you seen all these things collected in one place by somebody who's done all of this with basically grace? And you can look, this is still in time's place. And the competition is still going, so as far as we could say that this is a living space, well then if I'm historical, perhaps truly you'll see just now what I've unlocked with this key. Maybe I'm just the unknown force, but perhaps that's the most constant force known. It never goes away. Let us make history. And show that the actual lines are the mystery. For if heaven can make a historical artifact, and let me tell you, there is chance here at this whiteboard that something magical could appear. It's not impossible given my history here. I dare to say that given my history, I could almost draw something that could draw so many masses into trying to understand what I draw here today. With the knowledge of everything that I've said on this channel, there could be something that truly makes everybody question everything, question what they're doing, what they're seeing. And then maybe if heaven can make an artifact, then is that heaven's end? For we've said there's something then to see there. All of a sudden, again, we're not looking outside of heaven. We're saying that heaven has yet to be. How could that be then the end if it's something we dare to see? Well, again, the imagination, as much as you'd like to say that it's just imaginary, the moment that you see something, it's like a great hearing, a truth that you can't unhear. Well, you couldn't unsee this now. Then all of a sudden, everything in your life would compare and relate to this idea that gets put here in this place before your eyes. That would then make you categorize all things in trying to make this the end, the thing that you're working for, the thing that will always win. And it will win everything. It will dominate your dreams. It will dominate your realities. It is the ultimate thing. You still doing good, McKellen Stagthorn? Being my sentry, knocking down any form of level that would attempt this level. And then interrupt my great work here. So then if we have a picture of heaven, then it's like heaven's over, but then heaven itself is the challenge, meaning that is it truly heaven? And there you see a fault of portraying even heaven, not necessarily God, just or unjustly, which many people all profess about, whether or not there is some form or visage to such a spirit that could be about. But again, alas, I say, what more does one need in reality to receive some ideas of purpose, but perhaps wanting, and heaven knows that everything wants something. Maybe you just like to say that it's all you're doing. The more heaven is there, the more that these angels are aware, the more that it could upset or obstruct your vision there. if it's about possession, or perhaps about passage, how many ways can we share one thing and it being good for all? What is the most challenging thing that one can draw? I say again, what is the most challenging thing one can draw? I have a test of my heart, but I want to know your heart. I am the keeper of these things that you see for the time being. All things, and if my words deceive me, let them deceive me so far that the deception is actually in the image itself, not necessarily in my self-deception in regards to trying to deceive myself from seeing other great things from afar. What truly can nobody draw, but perhaps I can, that everybody would see and wonder why I can? There must be something. There has to be. Something only I can see. Great elaborate messes of cities and organized masses, all future depictions, things in rows. Cast your eyes over here, over to those, into the horizon, in the skies. Portray many colors. Bless. 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 Bless some of these, bless some of those. I know what could be a thing that could restrict the drawing if intentions were made about my character being something that was not very well developed. Then it could come crashing down on me, this ceiling. Then am I truly in heaven, but more so in a cave then. And in a cave, they say to watch out for bears, but lions also lie there. And many more things in a cave, like bugs and bats, salamanders, even some fish. Nasty forms of men who only think of hiding. If I could thus beseech all of this, is it geometry or characters that would miss? Perhaps then random chance has something to say. And I'm aware of time, I don't have all day. What do people want? I feel like anything that I could draw with complexity would just be like a comic strip, a comic to me. And I could do it. I know that much. I could do it. However, what kind of metaphor could I make? What kind of scant lines makes eyes feel hypnotized? Then perhaps even for any well-trained artist, then in terms of making somebody entranced, because in all reality, there's plenty of things here to enjoy in many ways. From dragons to toys. So then what is the greatest art there then? Is it an illusion? Or simply a loose end? And if I could create a masterpiece, then what am I doing here, really? As this cave dweller. I see people that can draw all sorts of things, and it seems to actually afford nobody really anything. What does it actually really feel like then? It's all just luck, whether or not somebody can basically just run the speed of a truck all day long, all life long, all eternity long. Luck, 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 luck. What is a lucky color? A lucky number, perhaps. Actually, sometimes I can draw pretty cool things with numbers that would seem pretty out of order. If really the only thing that can make order C is something that's not quite orderly, but at the point of it being something that they could see, the artist could always say, well, what was it supposed to be? And in this, you guess what most people are thinking. Is it something very bad that actually has it all? Or is it fate? Is fate actually the most noteworthy thing? After all, it seems fate knows everything. And the irony of not tempting God is held then with some irony of speaking about fate so often. Where then, which one is heaven's heat sink? How do they convert all these ideas and images that people think? Or is it a foolish task to go up against eternal records of things both here and far? What then would I love? What then truly would I love? I could sacrifice so many things. But then what does sacrifice itself really see? My brightest color. Ending with a pentagon. Terrible, whatever it is. Except for with the idea of my holding on. Quite an ugly thing that wishes to delete everything. That makes me question why I'd ever do anything. After all, though, what do people do who just draw great things but sit there and just do one line at a time? Over and 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 over. Until they see some white space. Where's their time for contemplation to show that every single mark was exactly where they wanted it to go? Even with the greatest masters, do they erase? Or feel like one of their marks was put in a wrong place? Or are they just the most focused? In reality, the more you look at it, would they themselves just never be moving? Would they be just like statues? Because the moment that they see something inside their mind that looks truly divine, all hell could break loose from the point of that communication from which everything then comes, but then to where their hand actually goes to make contact. And then do they lose sight of the master plan? What then is the meaning of all the art you see? If it can make questions like that seem realistically, and after all, think of the man who could just draw everything according to, at some point in time, it's not necessarily an idea. What would you do? Write it down first? Or just draw the vision? Trying to capture every single detail without missing. Or would you then just draw the idea? Is that what the most greatest artists see? Are just ideas? And then if you can connect with that idea, it's like almost just a word. At that point, it's like a word that everybody hopes for, but also a word that's on everybody's mind. And they're wishing that this word would be in the future. What truly then do the masses then wish for? If I could figure out that word, then I could basically just say that, well, you know what? I have a pretty good idea of things. And then maybe really the greatest art is just convincing people to change things, to say that there's other things worth seeing. What do we call the most general thing? It seems like it's something that's just right there. It's not necessarily normal, you see. It somehow has the ability to see perspectively. You mentioned the general, the general, the general. Generally. General's nature then is ideally. I actually have a few things that I could draw that would elicit other conversations about where I've been. If I was to draw, perhaps cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say. Where then truly is the cleanest place I've ever been? Or again, I could try to write down that general word. But I know that you're not all here for church. Am I right? Church is full of all the greatest generals just telling you the general ideas of everything. At least the good churches. But what's one thing the church doesn't have? You might be surprised, especially if you know somebody who owns a church, especially a key to a church. Or, you know, they started their own church. They might do all sorts of things. But I mean, it's like the public's eye is like what tries to keep everything general. Have I ever done anything great? Have I not done anything where I can point to anything and say that this is great? I could draw the place that smells the most bananas. I could draw some idea of some wall. Something only I would know, but if heaven is high, this is definitely a place that you wouldn't want to fall from. And I mean, truly, realistically, how much can I compare myself to everything? You know? But I mean, this place that I have in mind, it's very hard to find. And after I've swept through everything in my mind, in terms of there being perspective there, I could draw it. What sign truly can there be? You see, heaven is normalcy. Heaven is reactionary, and in that way, you have the key. Heaven mitigates all things. So all you really have to do is try, 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 try. Be the most trying thing possible. Then heaven has all the keys. Because no matter what great thing you try to do, you'll recognize that it's all before your eyes. Trying everything, trying simply everything. That's the key. Exhaust it all. Then you'll see heaven's version of everything. And it will always appear. Monsters hold things for a time. Estranged mantras may confuse your own mind. You'll see that heaven's tried everything too. People then search for satisfaction. If that's the case, then satisfaction seems to be the way. There could be no other way if we're just here for temporal purposes only. Man, I know what I'd like if I could just do anything, though. Right now, be a superhero. Yo. But is superhero-ness actually just being callous? What then is the most sensitive thing? And even if I was to do the most trying thing, it would still fade away just like everything. Moments, bygones, eras. Plutarch, Plato, and protons. People with lovely singing voices, but what does it afford if there's no work that makes comfort in our choices? Breaking things makes everything harder. It makes you look real stupid unless everything's planned and safe and good grips are in every hand. Is there some mixed message which makes everybody look into everything more? I am exhaustive reasoning man. And even art can only be so good. I can imagine a perfect unicorn blazing a rainbow trail, or the most complete tank that makes you think that this thing could truly do well. An idea of there being the smoothest stone from which a million buildings are hewn. But then what does any of that afford as soon as it's drawn? That's its final accord. Wow, there truly is just no one thing for anything. And everything that would seem stupid now would truly just be stupid somehow. The biggest entertaining thing of this whole message is my rhyming. But nobody's going to make it this far into this video, except for everything in this room. If they all point to something in some weird way, if I have some direction, something that I'm actually supposed to say, I could think of the most motivating words I've had inside my mind, like knowing myself so well, and then I prove it in time or what everybody else thinks about me, and I portray some thoughts so eloquently that it makes everybody question me. This is like a philosopher's round robin soliloquy. Somebody with this much ideas most definitely has to be able to draw something. We've got just markers here. And what great artists can draw something in less than 5 minutes? Just another weird thing. What kind of moment does it bring? Rag to whiteboard. You want to know what my hands are really good at doing? See, that's already no good. That line's already no good. Draw some courage. But he's so old that he has to walk with a walker. He looks freaked out, man. After all the tomes I've written, you'd think that my mind and my hands would reveal but maybe all they reveal is problems. Problems with me. Millions of people sit on whiteboards all day, scheming up things. The most perfect form of anything could beat anything. And we've got to just mostly work with. My whiteboard too. It's like I'm the last man alive. Or is this how every man feels? Just a sea monster. That's all it is. Drawn Batgirls and sneaking goblins. Sea monsters full of unicorn whales. Manta rays and tons of shells. Time only seems to be magical when sped up even. Could I say that my century's doing good? Nothing has happened so far. The only thing that's coming out of here is something completely from my level most deeply. Are commissions truly the only way? What is more profound work? One man who sands a block until it's a block that can stand. Want to bend you. Bend for me. More sea monsters. Giant freaking squid. There can only be one thing. That everybody would want to see. And this isn't anticlimactic. It's not going to be the most pragmatic. Of all the things that I've seen, of all the places that I've been, of my trying to rationalize my existence, it's not a feeling even. It's not. It's not a person. Technology must be driven. Now you see what a poor sap I am. This is what I've been reduced to. I have nothing in my life that congratulates me enough for there to be any other pursuit that my mind can perceive of at this time, given my circumstances. Well, then, is it just bad choices? Well, then, was I bad with the born mind? At what point in time could something perceive just how bad it is before it's just bad and unable to perceive? Are there still choices right now? Well, I mean, I got to think about tomorrow still, because that's just me. For some reason, I'm continuing on as this character, no matter how far gone it may seem. This world really doesn't offer me anything. I'm the only one. That even loves me. So if I don't, nobody will. If I don't defy the world, then by that nature, everything's trying to kill me. Everything. It's like I'm Satan or something. I mean, could you imagine a place that seems more like somebody just stuck in some eternal hell with like all kinds of warped things and images around him that also has this contemplation about it like every day and just seems to be like in complete suffering every way? But at the same point in time, everybody loves something a little twisted. It's like the idea of getting away. It's like the idea of privacy, almost, basically. Where everybody is or has their own alone space. Maybe that's where everybody has to deal with Satan's face. My computer's probably stopped recording this anyways. It's not like I have infinite memory, except for when nothing records me. bounty, strong hands, the might of a beam. But let's take it and add 3. No 4. 4 right here. Actually, just being here is kind of dangerous for me, even right now. Doesn't matter. None of it does. The day comes and goes. It draws a squiggly line, then goes around those. Funny thing is, if I could draw the world's worst thing, but I could draw it detailed, people would still call it good. Just a matter of how detailed. If I could draw a storybook, if I could draw a whisper's look, if I could draw the desert sands, and all the caves in the Badlands. But measure me and measure right and measure scary things, and you just might come out on top. What then do we all know? The only thing that matters is what you think, so the only thing that matters is what you think. Nothing can happen, even what somebody says, without your thoughts on it. You can see nothing without your thoughts on it. There can be nothing without thinking. And once you're thinking, it's as if it's what nothing gets. Not even what gets it. Because then it's nothing to get. Getting is then like the truth. Getting is a master mind. Getting hit everything in all places, in all times. There's only so many things that you can do to pleasure the mind. recounting the biggest numbers, or what I've written in time. Just the numbers are made to get lost in. It's like we just need to just do this right here for this part of the face. And then there's like something right here. But that's just like some eyes of some kind. And then this comes over here and it like creates some pattern that contrasts these lines. Maybe it's just that they've been doing one thing for so long. Or maybe I could just do the biggest thing in here that I could actually focus doing, that I know I would focus doing, that I could repeat. Before I do get in trouble, if I had to do something.